Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor, and I'm going to turn that microphone down a bit. Sorry about that. And today what we're going to be doing is we have Season 28, Number 12, ASR matched up against MRBCK. And if we win this war, it means that we win the whole Alliance season. So, let's go into it. We have actually, we have a really big war today. And throughout this video, I've noticed that through my 2 attempts so far at recording in my new setup, because obviously I moved, as you saw in my last video, the audio seems to be cutting out a lot, and I don't know if that's going to happen in this video. Honestly, it probably has happened already. And whenever that does happen, wherever I notice it, I'm just going to edit over like the text of what I said in that part that got skipped. And there's literally nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to fix this. So hopefully it just doesn't do that very often. But yeah, today we have the team of Falcon, Ghost, and Wasp, and we are going to be going path 2 in Section 1, path 5 in Section 2. And we're going to be boosting up with our medium boosts for Section 1, and then actually get one fight in Section 2 done. My mini-boss, well, actually 2 mini-bosses, sort of. And yeah, so we're going with Falcon for this thing. This is actually Falcon's only fight, which is nice because the mastery setup I'm using is the exact same one I placed my defense with. So that was super sweet. And then I just ended up switching actually all 3 mastery trees. Actually, I didn't switch defense. I only added points to defense and willpower. But in offense, I took off Despair and I took off Assassin. I put those points into Suicides, and then in utilities I took the points out of Mystic Dispersion and Limber, and I put those points into Suicides as well, because Suicides does take a decent amount of points up. And then yeah, so this is a pretty straightforward fight. So this is the Strike Counter Fury path. And Falcon actually shuts down protection and rock stacks whenever you're locked on, so it's really, really nice. And the way this node works is whenever you get pushed to a bar of power, the opponent gets pushed to a bar of power as well, and then whenever they throw their bar of power, you lose that many bars of power. So it's a pretty straightforward node. I'd say that unless it's a champion like Sim Supreme or Doctor Strange, who only gain power from power gain sources, they don't get any power from hits, I'd say that 99% of all defenders are just much easier on that first node than the second one. Also, the first node's quakeable, the second one isn't unless it's a Mystic Defender, because class relationships affect brute force. So yeah, that's it. This fight, I didn't even get time to talk for this fight, but this is a rank 3 6-star Doom because he's already dead. It was a really fast fight. 1 L2 with Ghost, and then 1 SP3, and then of course he survives, so I dex the L1, fully dex, and punish, and he drops. I did switch on Suicides in between those 2 fights, which is why there was a cut in between, and I threw on an L1 boost as well. So now we're going to be going in against this rank 3 6-star Corvus, and while Ghost, I'm going to have something to drink. While Ghost is definitely a very good option for this fight, Falcon is probably better. And if I wasn't running Suicides, I probably would be using Falcon here, but I just wanted to make that Doom fight a little safer, and I knew I could do this fight with Ghost. So I throw the L2. He's almost dead, but he's going to be a little bitch, and he's going to throw his L1 here. So that means I have to parry. So look, I go to parry, and it doesn't parry. I am 100 billion% certain that I landed that parry correctly, and in the time, like at the time that I did that fight, and I knew that it was a dropped input, I was so mad because I was looking to have a really clean war, and I've already taken a few hits there. But yeah, that was the dex and parry bugs. When I fuck up, I admit it. I did not fuck up there. And then Stormbreaker or Ares is what his line ID is. He went and he finished off that Hit Monkey with Omega Red pretty easily. And then I am taking this SpiderHam on Mixmaster. And this is not... it's definitely not a tricky fight because his special one is insanely easy to evade. But once he throws his L1 or he evades, you actually can get a taunt on you, which lowers your attack quite severely. So you'll notice 4 hits, he's already down to 70%. In this L2, you're like I'm doing this fight so nicely, and then he's just gonna randomly throw right here his L1, which is just really unlucky because that means that my next L2 is going to have taunt on me for it, and if I'd waited out the taunt, he would have just thrown another L1, or I would have been pushed to my L3 from my own phases. So it was probably the best call to just throw it and accept that I would do less damage, but I actually ended up healing a lot of that recoil damage from the taunt debuff with willpower, so that was pretty convenient. So I actually am going to use 3 different L1 boosts in this fight. The first one was used for Doom and Corvus. The second one was used for SpiderHam and this Domino, and then I'm going to use a third one as well for my last 3 fights. But yeah, this Domino is a pretty straightforward fight. This is on Footloose, Kinetic, Force of Will. And then right there, my phase fails at an extremely unfortunate time, but I am able to land the parry, go back into phasing, it fails again, and then the time I do get it, she of course never hits into me while I'm phasing. And then right here, I actually am able to intercept her dash and throw an L2, which in my phase is going to fail, and I throw another one and she's dead. That's not a great fight for how that fight usually goes, but since I've seen people die to that fight, either by user error or just the worst RNG imaginable, I'm not complaining. And then we're going to move up to, or actually right here is where I take my last 3 fights. I waited for my boost to fall off, and then this was like, I don't even know. You guys can see the time if you really care about that on the difference. But I am going to be boosting up again. I'm using 150%, and then here I thought I was going to use a 15% attack, but I actually ended up going with a 10%, and that ended up being a really smart choice, as you guys will see later why that was a smart choice. But the issue is that the extra attack that I get from my 30% boost compared to my 20% is going to be very significant in me getting to my L2. It's going to shoot me over my L2 if I'd overboosted. So right here, Spider-Man's a very easy defender. Spider-Man 2099, he doesn't really have anything annoying about him, and he drops in 1 L2. So that was literally a 13-second fight. Extremely clean. He played into my phase. I got my intercept on my second opening, which is what I always do. That is always my strategy, and it worked out perfectly. And here we have Tigra on the next 7 flow intercept. So what I'm going to do is I am going to parry, hit her, and then phase, because that allows you to get the intercept on the medium dash, which is what you always want to do against Tigra, because you never know if her second hit's going to be a light or a medium, and if you think it's a light and it turns up being a medium, you're going to get hit by the second hit of the medium. But if you think it's a medium and it ends up being a light, then you're going to counter way too late and you're not going to get an opening. And then right there, I don't know if you guys saw that, but I actually got to around 2.9 bars of power against that Tigra. And if I had used the 15% attack boost, I would have been sent to 3 bars. So that was actually perfect. That is the exact reason that I made this choice, and it ended up working out perfectly for me. Now, this fight we originally had assigned to a Warlock, but before we sent the plans out, he actually decided to give the fight to me instead with Ghost. And luckily someone was able to put a white mags on here, so I am able to parry freely. This guy is dead. So yeah. It doesn't really matter that I can't phase. I ended with 98% health, and that was just a perfect fight. He didn't throw a special attack. I got my intercept naturally, which is what you're supposed to do. And yeah, that's the end of my war. And I don't know, it did this last time. It always goes sideways. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the war. And ASR finished in first place. After this war was over, when the leaderboards were updated. So we are going to end with a record of 11-1. Our one loss was to Kenobi, who got second of the season. Death totals was 1. My 1 death to America Chavez in War 7, I believe it was. And then my PSR this season is 60 out of 61, which is 98.3%. So I was close to rounding to 99, but I would have needed a few more fights. And then our Deathless streak is at 20. So that is going to be it. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.